What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to be doing this live video on showing you common wrap mistakes using TeckWrap, and I have their super gloss khaki green here. So if and when I'm doing this video, you guys want to ask me a couple of other questions, got about 30 minutes or so where I can answer some questions and show you some things about some common wrap mistakes using TeckWrap. Now, usually when people are installing, they end up stretching the film too far. Uh, when you stretch the film too far, it becomes either discolored, you can leave blue lines, or you can actually have the film pull back from the edges or out of recessed areas. So it's important to know like thresholds. And I'm going to show you basically some thresholds right now. Let's bring the camera in and show you a little bit closer about what these thresholds are. Thanks for joining, everyone. I appreciate it. I'm going to show you what these thresholds are and how to kind of counteract the thresholds using sometimes multiple pieces or sometimes just dialing back how much you're stretching the film. If you stretch the film too much, it's going to be a big problem, like I said. So let's bring the camera in and get you guys really close and show you what's happening. Now, a lot of people end up stretching the film too far right here, because this area at the front of the hood becomes a lot more compound as far as a curve goes. That curve can be problematic, and usually you end up stretching the film. So I'm going to grab some of the khaki green for you in a second here. And I'm not sure if this is a big enough piece. Yeah, it's okay. This will do. Now, the khaki green, it comes with a protective cap. The protective cap needs to be removed before we actually install the film. It's right here. You're going to see it. This cap right here is extremely rigid, and you cannot install it with the cap on it. Peel that right off. Now, this is going to create a lot of static. So you can see the film, it actually doesn't want to slide off the vehicle, right? Because there's so much static there. So you got to make sure your surface is very clean before you actually wrap. Otherwise, if there are any loose particles kicking around, that's going to be drawn in. Now, I'm going to show you what happens when we heat and stretch too much. Let's peel this off. I'm going to show you some things that, what can be done to maybe fix it, if possible. It's not always possible. Sometimes it is. And I'm going to show you a way to do it without an issue. Squeegee this down. And I'm going to pretend that, we're wrapping the hood, and in order to save time here, I'm going to pretend that we're wrapping the entire hood and show you this area over here, which is where, again, everyone or most people have a problem. Just that, and squeegee all that up. Cool. Let me grab my heat gun. Now, you're going to see that the film is actually bunching up in this area. That's a problem right off the bat, because you don't know what to do necessarily with the extra vinyl here. Look, as we squeegee the film down, watch what happens. As we squeegee the film down, the film begins to wrinkle and bunch up. So we end up getting bunching and extra material all in this area here. Look what's happening over here. So most people, they like to take TeckWrap and they want to stretch it really hard down to the edge, okay? This poses a couple of problems, okay? So one is that we're probably going to, especially with the super gloss film, is get glue lines. Second of all, we're probably going to distort the color and the finish. Third of all, and depending on how you see things, what's going to happen is if we stretch it very far past the edge of this hood or this panel, the film is going to want to pull back. Anyways, let's do it. Let's pretend that we're having a problem, and let's take the film and let's stretch it. We're going to heat it. And we're going to stretch it. We're going to take it. We're going to be like, okay, I'm going to pull my vinyl. Cool. All right. Now it's nice and tight. Good. So it looks good. It actually doesn't look bad right now at all. I don't see any discoloration in the actual film itself. This is because it's a bit of a thicker film. It's also a polymeric, which means that it can be a little bit more, it installs differently. So it shrinks, and I actually like that about it. So it shrinks more than, let's say, a full cast film. you can use the shrinking ability and the pre-shrinking ability of the film to actually aid you. Now in here, what most people will do is probably stretch the film in, push in. Cool, I got a wrinkle there, no problem, let's pull that out. Crease, there we go. Let's pull it this way and flatten all this out. And again, we're pretending that we stretched past the edge of the hood right here. Right here. This is the edge. Got a little bit of air skipping around here still. Let's get that air out. Okay. Now, what happens here is that because we stretch the vinyl past the edge very far, I'm just going to kneel down and kind of stay out of your way and be able to see myself what's happening. Because we stretch the vinyl past the edge, if we wrap this around, let's say we wrap it around, or we simply just cut on the opposite side, let's say cut on the fender right here, and it's very common to cut there. It's also very common to cut in the space right here between the light and the actual hood itself. Okay, come around there and so on. Let's finish this cut off. Great. Very common to do this. Now, when we heat the vinyl, you're going to see this area, look right here, it's stretched very far. Now, I'll bring the camera in even closer so you can see even better what's happening there. Check it out. That area is wrinkling up. So look what happens here now. Look what's going on. I'm heating it, and the vinyl is pulling back from the edge. So this is why you can't stretch too far past the edge. Look at that. It's going to keep on going. Check it out. Crazy, right? So anytime you see something like that happen, it's your fault. On top of that, when I'm looking right now on the camera, what I can see is a glue line right there. That's not good either. This is because we aren't handling the film properly with the super gloss finish. So that is mistake number one. Let's get into another mistake here. So let's actually bring the camera a little bit more centered, and I'm going to show you another mistake. So this is due, again, to stretching past or beyond that edge. If we take the film, I can even use this piece still. If we take this vinyl, and let's say I'm just going to put this down right here, and pretend, all this is, I'll make it more smooth. Let's just do that. Or we can pretend that we wrap the whole hood again. Squeegee all that out. Cool. And finish that up there. Cool. Okay, so now if we want to prevent that from happening, what you need to do is you need to actually stretch the film only to the edge, which means we stretch. So what I see here already is that we're going to be running into a problem. We have too much material, we have too much slack, there's too much going on. We need to actually read ahead of things. We have to actually say, okay, this is going to happen over here in this compound curve, and we need to begin our stretching a little bit further back. And then we end up landing on the edge. Let's go a little bit further back, right there. And let's heat the film, and let's stretch it. It's a bit of an odd piece because I'm reusing it, that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to take this film, and I'm going to stretch it inside the hood area. Right here, watch, I'm pulling it nice and tight. And I want to, look where my thumbs are landing, okay? I want to land on the edge. We don't want to land beyond the edge. If we land beyond the edge, we've 100% stretched it past the edge. So same thing here. Most people, again, we're going to stretch it into the recess here a little bit and finish that off. Let's see if there's a difference between before and now after, and see what happens in this area right here. Ignore what's going on over here. It's just, I have to squeegee that down, that's all. Just bubble, or it's just air. So let's cut it one more time, as most people do. They're going to cut it right here above the headlight, and we're going to come in and around. We're going to cut it along the fender. And let's just see what the difference. I won't squeegee this edge down at all. We're just going to leave it. Normally, you would actually squeegee that film down and around that edge a little bit. So let's check it out. Look, You see the edge? It doesn't have any wrinkles in it. Let's get into another mistake. Another mistake is taking the film. Well, I'm gonna cut a new piece, so we're gonna scrap that one. That one's now wasted. We're gonna take another piece of film and we're going to place this on the hood. A little speck of something there, that's okay. I mean, I'm not leaving it on the hood, obviously. It doesn't belong there. It's a small patch. Let's take this and let's just lay this down a little bit. Or lay a section down and squeegee this out a little bit right here. Now I'm going to show you what happens when you stretch from a line. Stretching from a line is really bad. And I'm going to show you why. Okay, if we take this area right here that I squeegeed down, just right there, and we stretch from that line, I'll bring the camera in even closer so you guys can see a little bit better. Let's just angle it down slightly. Give me 1 second. Just making adjustments here. Now, lift that up. And so right here is where the film is bonding. So there's a couple of things that are gonna happen here. I already know based off of experience. A, we're gonna leave a glue line right here where it's making contact with the actual panel. And then B, we have the possibility of discoloring the film. It's important to blend the film when we're stretching it. And that means we have to stretch not from this line right here, but from further out. Anyways, let's do it the wrong way. And I'll show you how to do it the right way. We're gonna heat all this and we're gonna stretch it. Very common for this to happen, okay? So take it, let's pull it nice and tight. I'm not gonna like destroy it. I'm just gonna pull it a little bit tight and we're gonna see what happens. It's not always a thing where the color distorts. And this one actually, it holds it very well. So let me get a different finish and a different color because this is actually too good. It's not bad enough yet. This should be actually really bad right here from here to here. It's not. There's a line. I'll show you the line. So while you're here, let's actually just check out the glue line and see if you can see that. I have no idea if you can see that or not. Try to find the reflection of light. Okay, so right there, guys, you can see that line. Now look at the transition from here to here. It's actually not that bad. It's really not that bad at all. So that means that the pigment is holding very well for how much I actually stretched because the film is a little bit thicker, which is actually a good thing. With a thicker film, you're going to get better pigmentation in the film, which means that you're going to actually be able to stretch it further without losing the color. If you want to use a super thin film, that's going to be a problem or it's more likely to be a problem because there's less pigmentation in a very thin film. This is thicker. You have the benefit of being able to stretch it further without losing that pigmentation. Let's grab something else. And usually a matte or a satin film is going to show it. So I will grab a piece of the color that I wrapped my car in. I actually love this color. This is called burnt maroon. And you notice that the backing is paper, okay? Because this is a PET release liner. This is just a regular paper release liner. The PET release liner adds to the super gloss finish of the actual film, which makes it a much more glossy than many other films in the market. You can see that in the reflection. And even though I stretched it from this line to here, it's still extremely glossy, while there are other brands on the market that will lose a ton of gloss. Like I don't even want to throw anyone's name out there, but they will lose a ton of gloss. So let's just take this off, move it. Let's move it out of the way. Let's take the burnt maroon, okay? And this is going to show it. I know it because I installed it already. We're going to take this and we're going to put it down right here. And again, you can see exactly where I squeegeed it to. I'm not trying to play any games here. We're going to take it and we're going to stretch it from this line. But that's actually quite impressive that the gloss held its color after how much I stretched it there. I thought for sure it was going to discolor. I was actually trying to make it discolored. Let's heat it right here at the line. See what's happening, we're heating it, you know, the wrinkles are coming towards me and so on. Basically the vinyl is pre-shrinking. This is polymeric. And let's take it and let's stretch it a bit, okay? Just like that. That's not, I actually stretched it less than I stretched the super gloss film. Let's squeegee it out, check that out. I don't know if you guys can see that yet, then if you can't, I'll bring the camera in so you can see it. So what we're looking at is the transition from here to here. Let's bring the camera in and show you. I'm sure you can see it, but I can see it in my phone. It's pretty crazy, right? So that's, again, another mistake. You cannot stretch the film from a line like that. I'll show you how to stretch it in 2 seconds. Check it out, right? It's really, really bad. Like, this is extremely noticeable. You're going to see this ugly transition in the middle of a panel, and nobody's going to be happy with that. Yourself, your customer, or anybody else. So how do we prevent this from happening? Well, I'll show you right now. Let's rip this off. Oh yeah, let's talk about another thing here. What's cool is that this is probably, as long as I didn't burn the film with my heat gun, it's probably salvageable. So let's actually show you that. Let's see what happens if we take this, we lift it up, right to about there. So we're going to lift it past the problem area, okay? And we're going to heat it, and we're going to shrink the film back into its original state. Let's see what happens. So I think I burned it in one spot, just because I added too much heat. But matte metallics and satin metallics and stuff like that, they burn a little bit more easily. So let's just take it and gently place it down. I'm going to keep it a little bit tight. And let's see if we can get rid of that transition line. Watch, let's squeeze it out right now. Check that out. That's crazy, right? So it is basically salvageable. I burned it a little bit right there. But we've pretty much healed that sucker up. It's a big, big difference. I have some smears on it, and you can see the burn. So I'm going to bring the camera over to show you the burn. The burn is right here. There's a piece of dirt. Don't worry about that. But again, that line isn't nearly as noticeable. It's actually, the line's pretty much gone, and just burned it. That's all. So most of the time, it's salvageable. If you didn't burn it, you can salvage it. If you burn the film, then no, you cannot salvage it. So like that little spot over there, that shininess is never going to go away. Rip that off and show you how to do this properly. So let's take this section right here and place it down. Now, it's never usually a good idea to stretch over a very small area. If you stretch over a small area, that's a big problem. That usually leads to a problem. So how do I, and this is just smears from my hand there, that shiny spot there. So how, you're thinking, maybe do I handle this? Once I start to get really bunched up and I need to heat from where I squeegeed it to, how do I handle this? I'm going to show you right now. Lift that film up, again to the line. So I'm actually going to heat at the line, but I'm not going to stretch at the line. Watch what happens. I'm going to stretch when I come a little bit more outward. So that's moving. You can see the film is moving. Watch. There we go. It's not pre-shrunk yet. All right, almost. Cool. It's pretty much there. Now let's start moving our heat gun out towards us. Okay. Keep the film elevated. You can only heat the film when it's elevated. It won't do anything if you don't heat it when it's elevated. Okay, so let's take it now. And let's not like try to kill it first of all. That's another thing. But let's stretch it again and see what happens. I'm stretching it really far, guys. Like I'm stretching it too far almost. Let's see what happens as far as this finish goes. Let's squeegee that out. That's air. Look at that. The finish from here to here is much better than it was before. Is it perfect? It's probably a shade off, but it still looks much better. I can see that it's still a shade off. But at least we know right now that this is correctable. So I can take this back. Let's fix that up right there. Let's go back past the problem area. And do this again. Anytime you're stretching a satin or a matte metallic film over a small area, like I am doing right now, it is likely that the film is going to discolor. I can feel that vinyl pull my hand back in, okay? That's how much I stretched it. Let's take it, let's just very gently keep it tight. See what happens with this line right here. Squeegee it. And what's nice about this film is that it leaves zero glue line. It's the most smooth finish ever. Look at that. Beautiful. See? The line is now gone in that area there. I have some smears and some smudges from my fingers, whatever, you know, I could wipe it off afterwards. That's okay. Otherwise, the line has healed. So let's do this again. Let's stretch it all over again. And let's see what happens. I'm going to heat it a little bit less. I'm going to heat a little bit more down here where my hand is. So I heat it over there. I'm going to heat it a little bit more where my hand is. And I want the film to slightly cool. Now, when I stretch this, I'm going to stretch it quite a bit. I'm going to try and get it to the end of the hood. Okay, so let's go. Oh, I don't want that corner to lift. It's going to mess everything up. Let's go here. That's okay. It's fine. Get it. Oh, and the whole thing lifted off. I don't have very much vinyl, and I'm pulling it that hard, guys, where the film just snapped off. Let's try this one more time. So I'm at the edge of the hood here right now. Let's bring the camera back slightly so you can see that. But now I'm going to come short at the edge of the hood. Can I make this distance from here to the edge of the hood without distorting the film? That's what I want to know right now. And that's what I'm going to try and show you guys. You have to balance out the stretching. It has to be blended nicely. So again, we're going to heat here. Now let's heat all in here. This is pretty short at the end of the hood here. You should stretch a piece like this far. Okay, so I want that to cool slightly. And again, I'm short, about 2 inches, 3 inches. Pull it. Check that out. I just about made it over a very small piece of film. It's all about the area that you're heating over. You want to go max. Look at that. It's perfect. There isn't a single distortion in this film. Squeeze the rest down. Why not? Other than my hand smears on it, there's no distortion in this film. Beautiful, right? That's how you do it. I stretched a 15-inch piece or so from the line-ish, but doing it properly by heating at the line and then working out from there, letting the film cool slightly, and then pulling the film where if I bring my heat gun from here to here and work my way out, I don't have to worry so much about what's going to happen over here because this is where most of the stretch is happening. This is going to begin to cool, and this is where my heat gun finished off. So this area is going to stretch a little bit more. And so it kind of blends the stretch or the pigment in from this area to this area here and makes it much less noticeable or not existent at all. There's another mistake right there. All right, let's get into something else. So first off, or work around an object. First off, what you should be doing is you should be masking off this emblem. So let's do that very quickly. Mistake number one would be not masking it off. We want to mask, oops, I don't mean to tear that, that's okay. Mistake number one would be not masking it off. Anytime you have to work around an object, you mask it off. Or if something is in your way. I'm going to try to come around really nicely here. Go all around the edge. And you should be good right there. Cool. Great. So I can just smush that masking tape on there. And then now what we can do is we can actually wrap around this. Now, a mistake that people make is this. I'll show you how to correct it. Let's peel off the protective cap. We're going to use the khaki green again. The mistake people make is this. So what you're going to end up doing is you end up with you have your vinyl over top, and let's say we're gonna come down from the top of the hood. It's actually a more normal way to do this. We're gonna come down from the top of the hood, and you're gonna get to the emblem, and you're gonna go, okay, now what do I do? Now I'm just going to try to go like this, and you see as I work around the emblem, the vinyl becomes very bunched up. So this is a mistake, because what happens is you have no chance of getting this extra vinyl out from around the emblem. No chance. If you leave it the way it is. The film, to correct this or to do it the proper way, must be pulled tightly. So you can see again, we're going to have no chance of cutting and doing this. Let's try to pull it even a little bit tight. Let's do it a little bit tight. Okay, still not even great. It has to be tighter than that. If you don't pull it tighter than that, it's still going to be a problem. Let's grab let's just use this piece. Why not? Pull it even tighter. Okay. Now, if you work an area of this, I almost don't even know how to do this the wrong way because I'm so used to doing this. So if you work an area of the emblem more than one area, let's say we go around here and then we kind of come here, and then now look, we're kind of messed up right here. We're gonna get a wrinkle right there. See what happened? So even though I still pulled it tight, we're still gonna get a wrinkle. When you're doing this, and there's another wrinkle over here. When you're doing this, I'm gonna get a new piece to do this. You have to do this very evenly all the way around. Let's rip this piece off. And again, I'll just show you, let's cut and see what kind of happens as we cut around this. Obviously, it's way easier just to remove the emblem. But when you have to work around an object, and sometimes they don't come off, this is how you do it. Well, not this right now. Okay, so now we've cut away from the emblem, and we're still in trouble because we still have too much material because it's not pulled tight. See what happens? We get wrinkles. Okay, let's remove this. Take another piece and let's wrap around the emblem. Peel this off. Great. Now take this and let's pretend we're going to wrap the hood again, all over again here. It doesn't have to be the hood, guys. I'm just showing you. You can be working around anything. Okay, so I'm gonna envision that, well, I know if I'm wrapping this hood, that the emblem is right there. And you can see that it sticks up. It's a friggin' nightmare to work around it if it's protruding from your panel. We're gonna pull this film tight, hit really tight. Okay? Not pulling it too much directly towards the edge because we don't want to do that. We have to pull it properly towards the edge. And you can see that I'm doing this cold. I'm not even adding any heat to do this. My room temperature right now is about, I can see it, 21 degrees Celsius. So it's not like it's crazy hot in here. About 70-ish for all the American friends over there. All right. So now if we can do this the wrong way, we can do this the right way. Now I know right now that I've pulled this film nice and tight around the emblem. What I want to do here is I want to find the edge of the emblem or close to it. Doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to find something close to it. And we're going to cut. This is why we have masking tape. One of the reasons why we have masking tape. We want to cut on the emblem. And then when we do, we'll be able to, oh, I'm kind of off the edge here. Let's go a little bit more rounded. There we go. We'll be able to lift the film off really nicely and even prevent a glue line. So watch. This just sticks up right here. It's not great right there. There we go. Now it's a lot better. What we want to do now is we want to take a tucking tool of some kind and we want to lift this off. This way we're not adding tension to the edge. Just like this. And this is going to prevent some glue lines. It's also going to prevent film from sticking and so on. Let's work our way all the way around. So really nicely like that. Look at that. Boom. Lovely. Beautiful. That's how you do it. Okay, so we're going to lift that off a little bit more even and make sure that the film is super tight all the way around the bottom. Let's go here. Right there. Go all the way around there. and voila. Okay. The next step would be to make sure that the film is tucked in and nice and around all of this. But you can see how we were able to work around the object with without getting glue lines in a film that's this film is very hard to not get glue lines in because it is a super gloss film. And anything that is a super gloss or an ultra gloss or an omega gloss or anything with these high gloss films, I don't care what brand it is because I've used a whole bunch of them, they are more prone to getting glue lines or more prone to showing glue and lift lines. Now, I don't have a glue line or a lift line anywhere around that emblem. That's rare because normally that would be something that would be certain that would happen. Sorry, just need to bump the camera there. You can see no glue line, no lift line. Right? Well, first of all, I didn't lift the film. And second of all, there's no glue line because I didn't add tension to the film when it was around this area here. If we put tension at the edge like this, watch. So we're gonna have lift lines already probably from that. But if I take this area right here, where I've just squeezed it with my thumb, and I pull it right here, we're most likely gonna have a glue/lift line. It's not always 100% certain, but I can see one already. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'll find a good camera angle. Give me 1 second here. I see it. I saw it right here. It's right here. Sorry. Right there. You can see the line. Okay, right there. It runs up and down. It's not that bad, to be honest. If you add heat to that, it's going to be even worse. And that's where you're going to have an ugly looking finished end result for your wrap. So if I take heat and I add heat to that line as I stretch, it's going to get much worse. And that is another problem. So you can't do that. You want to make sure that we're wrapping with minimal tension around objects and on the surface and so on, even when we come to the edges. Super important to be able to do this stuff, guys. If you don't, it's not going to make your film look good and last long and so on. I'm gonna do other live videos, so I just want to do one right there for you guys. And that was more like a few mistakes that a lot of people make and how to correct them. Those are very common mistakes, and I want to show you what you can do, how you can fix them, and explain why they happen. Some mistakes with a matte or a satin film, other mistakes with a gloss film, and sometimes it can be both. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter so much also what the finish is all the time. Certain finishes do respond differently to heating and stretching and so on, as you saw with the satin metallic, burnt maroon, and the super gloss khaki green. They vary in differences when you heat and stretch from that line. So finishes can make a difference, but they don't always make a difference. Perhaps I'll do more of these videos that explain and show you, mistakes and how to repair them and how to fix them, or what you can do, or what you can also do to avoid them down the road. But guys, I'm going to check out. I hope that this video was informative and detailed in showing you how to do this. I look forward to doing more videos for you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Take care.